Oh, there were clouds all over the sky, filling it up, and there was snow everywhere, mounds of it. Two kids, a girl with a red hat and a red jacket, and a boy with a blue hat and a blue jacket. Oh, they were so excited. They came running and playing in the snow. Playing all over the place, back and forth. They think of what they should do next and decide to build a snowman. They rolled the snow into big balls and piled them on top of each other. So cute. The boy started looking for some sticks. He made 2 arms and a nose. Perfect. He then began looking for some rocks to make eyeballs and a smile. The girl and boy sat back to look at it. Looked perfect. But the boy asked, "Do you think something's missing?" "Yeah, maybe you're right," said the girl. "I have an idea." The little boy took off his hat and placed it on the snowman. They sat back and wow, so good, it was perfect. They joined hands and skipped away. Wow. The snowman began to become alive. He started wiggling his face and shaking his body. He looked at his hands and his fingers. He saw the clouds everywhere and the snow. So nice. He began moving, dragging himself across the snow. Very slow, like a snail. Moving so slowly. He saw 2 squirrels running about. Still snowing, and he became blinded by... the sun began to rise. She had beautiful eyes and lips. She looked at the snowman and blew him a kiss. Wow. Instantly, he was in love. He reached for her, but couldn't move. He was stuck to the ground. The sun blew him another kiss and winked at him, and he tried dragging himself towards the sun. The snowman followed the sun across the sky, changing direction as she began to set. And just as she set, she gave him one last final wink, and then it became dark. He was so cold. He was no longer snow, but pure ice and couldn't move. He was so cold. The first night he was so alone and cold. The stars were everywhere across the sky. But again, the sun began to rise, and there she was with her beautiful lips and eyes winking at him. Wow, he was still in love. He started to cry and melt. Again, he tried to move towards her, trying to think of ideas of how he can reach her. He came to a tree and started to climb up it. But still couldn't reach and jumped down. He then found a rope and lassoed a tree branch and began to pull it down, and then slingshot himself into the sky towards the sun, but crashed into the ground. The sun continued to travel across the sky, and he still tried and tried all these different ways to get to her. She sat and he became depressed, but no, he said. He turned towards the sky and waited for her to come. Then she came again, and he tried again and again, but still struggled to try to reach her over and over, every day, all day, over and over. Eventually, the snowman began to melt, but he was still so in love. He continued to chase her. The snow was no longer on the ground. It started to melt, and flowers began to sprout. The the sun realized it was so hot and he was melting, but still he chased her. His arms fell off. And eventually he tumbled to the ground and began melting. The sun was so upset. She began screaming. They locked eyes just as his face melted away. The sun was so distraught she began to scream. The water coming from her eyes was so hot that when it landed, everything dissipated. There was no more snow. It was just gone. Everything was gone. She kept crying. And when she looked down, the water was just rocks sitting there. Just sticks sitting there. Nothing was left. She was so upset and continued crying. But what she missed was the white began to form into something. A cloud began to form. And the sun watched and oh my gosh, the snowman became a cloud. His face formed, and his nose and arms. The cloud looked at himself in amazement and looked up at the sun. They were both so excited. He floated up into the sky. The sun was so excited, and the cloud and the sun finally were able to embrace. And up until now, they're still together. Every day, all day.